everybody. It's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And it is the Chucky TV series, Episode 2, Give Me Something Good to Eat. It's what it's called. And we are reviewing that today. It premiered last night. Every Tuesday night is the Chucky show at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And, well, it wasn't as intense as last week, but there were several things that went down, and despite some of the storylines / events I disagreed with, I thought the episode was pretty good. And I'll talk about what I disagreed with later. Do you want to start, Marco?
Yeah, I think I'll review it. So, this episode 2 of Chucky, is what we watched. Well, I watched it last night when it was on. It was okay. It was okay. A lot of people are liking it more than last episode, which is sort of confusing to me because last episode was like eating ribs, like some nice barbecue ribs, and this week was like eating one little frosted sugar cookie from Kroger. So that's kind of what I would say, is that last episode was a lot better than this. I really felt like this episode was kind of like, because when you look at it, what's there, Safi, don't do that. When you look at this episode, what's there to like about it? Well, it's entertaining. That's what I'll have to say about it. It's entertaining. And unfortunately, that's just not enough nowadays. You know, you have like a million different shows, a million different movies, and if you're just entertaining, then you're not great. And this episode was just entertaining. And why that's bad is because when you have something that's just entertaining, it's really not going to stand the test of time. It's not going to age well. It's not going to be a classic in 20 years. It's just going to be like at least Bride of Chucky, it was a very different movie. It took a lot of chances. It was a huge joke of a movie, though. But at least it was different. At least it was unique. Than, the original Child's Play. That's a classic right there. It's an iconic classic. I don't care what anyone says. Chucky isn't scary. Child's Play isn't scary. Child's Play is boring. Yeah, fuck off. Child's Play is a classic. Child's Play 2 is extremely dark. In fact, I would liken the first episode to Child's Play 2 because they were the same level of like darkness. But this episode was more like Seed of Chucky. In fact, they even referenced Seed of Chucky, and I guess it's all connected, which I'm glad that they're doing that because it's good to see that at least that they're connecting everything rather than choosing to ignore all the sequels, right, Safi?
Yeah. Like
certain movies. Halloween. Fuck Halloween Kills. That movie sucked. Now I sound like Safi.
Sorry.
So, I like that a lot, that they're all connected. We still need to watch them. Safi hasn't seen part 3, or Cult, or Curse, and I haven't seen Cult, and so I feel like we're going to have to watch those to fully comprehend all the stuff that they explain, because we're seeing that there's going to be characters from those movies in the upcoming episodes too. So I'm kind of worried about that, of like, am I going to be caught off guard and like not know what's going on? So we're going to definitely watch those. But back to this episode, it started off with a little tiny flashback scene, and once again, like, I'm really excited to see the flashback story play out, because I think that the actor that they got looks a lot like him as a kid, and so far he's pretty good, and I'm just excited to see his backstory a lot. If they did that with Halloween, the fanboys would riot and they would have a fit and saying, "You can't do that! He's pure evil! You can't do that!" Uh-oh. Sorry, everyone. Safi's not really that professional when it comes to reviews.
I didn't do anything. I just didn't turn it off.
Yeah. Well, so this episode, first off, they had this part where, right off the bat, Chucky kills the rich people's maid. And he kills her by, like, pushing her into knives that are in the what's that thing called? Dishwasher. We've never used that one, but we have it. So, I don't really care. We wash dishes ourselves. Safi, do you need, like, a cough drop or something?
No.
Do you need, like, a teddy bear? Do you need, like, a bowl of chicken soup? Do you need, like, Chucky to make you some chicken soup? Yeah.
Go ahead, Marco.
Okay, I'll try. So he kills her, and right off the bat, I was kind of weirded out by that because to me it felt almost like they just needed a kill for this episode.
Yeah.
Like,
and they weren't ready to do any of the other important characters.
The major characters. So I was kind of like, because it just, like, how long can this go on? Like, as soon as the second kill happens, they already want to blame Jake. And so it's like, how long is this going to go on where these characters get killed off, and then you have these stupid police officers who are like, we think that Jake killed him because Jake bad.
And Jake was at school, and everybody knows it and saw him there when it happened.
Yeah, I think, oh, Safi.
Go ahead.
You want to leave or something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'll try. So, I was just thrown off track.
Well, I can say a few things about it.
Well, you can do that at the end. So, we had that kill, and that was like half the episode. And then the second half was this Halloween party. And it's all about how Chucky wants to kill Lexi, the mean girl. And if Jake is going to go to the party, all this kind of teen drama stuff. It's very much like Goosebumps. This whole show, it really, once again, it does not give off a Chucky vibe. It gives off a Goosebumps vibe. It's very Goosebumpsy. I mean, if they put Slappy in this and they called it Night of the Living Dummy, I would literally believe it's like Goosebumps. And so I think that's kind of funny because I don't think that was intended. And when I've seen the behind the scenes, I haven't seen the creator even mention Goosebumps. But this is literally like exactly like Goosebumps. I mean, they even have it to the point of where, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that you have to know what you're getting into. And I was really looking forward to seeing a Chucky series and not like a Goosebumps series. Do you agree with that, Safi?
Yeah, but you are more familiar with the Goosebumps books than I am.
Yeah, so they have the Oliver character. Oliver's like he's a dumbass jock. He's kind of like a cardboard cutout. And he feels really bad, quote unquote. And he asks Jake to come to the party and bring Chucky. And what does that remind you of? It reminds you of the Night of the Living Dummy books, where the characters are always bringing Slappy or Mr. Wood to the birthday parties and the celebration parties. In those books, though, they do it because they want to perform an act and make some money. But this is just like a favor of but it never really plays out, this party of what we think will happen, where you'd think that we would get another stand-up act. That never really happens. Instead, it's more so about killing Lexi. And Jake is really worried about Lexi. And let's talk about Jake's acting, Safi. I like the character, kinda. He's fine. I mean, he hasn't really had that much yet. in terms of like development. It's just kind of been he's gay and he's sad and he's an artist in the first episode. You know, it really hasn't been a lot of story with him. It's just been about Chucky and about other things like Lexi. I mean, this episode basically could have been called Lexi, the show, because it was really more focused on her. And so I thought that that was kind of a weak point. But Jake, he kind of does the same faces and the same routine every episode. Like last episode, when he saw his stepdad, he like twisted his face sideways and he kind of like he made like a scrunched up face, like can you make that face, Safi? I mean, he made the same face.
I have to look at it a few more times and copy it.
He made the same face this episode when he saw the maid. And
did.
I was like, oh God. See, that's where the director needs to step in and direct. Because that was really bad.
Maybe he did, and that was the best he could do.
Safi, that face was ridiculous. He turns his face and he's like this. He's like, look, Safi. He's like this. He's like,
yeah, you imitate the face really well. I don't know if I could.
Really
I'd have
bad.
to look at it a few more times. You can do it.
I mean, he's not terrible. It's just that that's noticeable because that was a huge moment, and we already pointed out how that was really unnatural, and it felt just really like I want to get this fucking fly out of here. There's a fly in here. It's annoying. So, the fly's in the back now. God. Whatever. Safi, close your door. Close your door.
A weird bird.
So what? So I'm just gonna. I feel like this has been going on a little long, mostly because of Safi. So I'm gonna just say what I liked and didn't like,
Okay.
and then let Safi talk, and then we'll kind of go from there. So what I liked was I liked Chucky a lot, of course. Him trick-or-treating was really funny because he went to one person's house and he gave them a razor blade and an apple. And that was really funny. And, very, very cringeworthy. Like when you see that, it's like an automatic, like it gives you a stomachache thinking about like, ugh. Because then they show she actually ate it and But
and she couldn't talk and her mouth was bleeding into some unnatural pool of blood onto a paper towel, which didn't even look real at all.
yeah, that's one of Safi's criticisms, everyone.
I can't help it.
So I liked that, and I liked the party overall. What I really liked was Caroline, the little sister, and I liked her and Chucky talking together because Chucky's starting to manipulate her. And I really liked their chemistry together, and I think that, honestly, I could have just watched a whole show with just them going on a killing spree together. So I thought that was really good. It was just kind of like, I just don't know how else to describe it. Like, you watch it, and it's like, okay, bye-bye. I hope next week's better, because it was just kind of like, and then the ending, it was like, and like, well, it's like, this is supposed to be Chucky. It's supposed to be like a horror show, and this was like a Goosebumps episode. It was very light and very sort of inoffensive, sort of like they couldn't kill anyone off except for the meaningless maid. So I just kind of felt like, instead of killing anyone, I just would have liked some more story and character development, honestly. Like, you didn't even have to kill anyone to make this a horror episode. You could have just had more character development. Because you had another thing was the fact that Chucky really wants to kill Lexi. And when Jake disagrees with him, Chucky punches him and beats him up like his dad used to.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like a parallel with that, where he was in one abusive relationship and now he's in another one.
Yeah.
And so, like, instead of doing this, like, sort of Goosebumps type of episode, we should have had, like, an episode with that. Because that to me is what I was interested in. Because I'm an adult, you know, I'm an adult. And so I'm not interested in, like, are you coming to the party, Jake? Are you gonna, oh, is Jake coming to the party? Guys, do you know if Junior's gonna, hey, Lexi, where's Lexi? Oh, are you gonna get in the party now? We gonna have games at the party? We gonna dress up costumes in the party? We gonna have a party? Like, I don't care, honestly. Like, the party should have been a very good setting for killing and horror. But instead, the party was just kind of like a background setting. Like, at one point, Lexi does something that I knew Safi was going to love. And that was funny just because I knew that Safi was going to love it. But I really felt like the party was underutilized. And I felt like it was sort of a missed opportunity to have some actual horror happen.
And the way they talked about it before it happened, it sounded like it was going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and it really wasn't.
I was really surprised.
Yeah. So I guess maybe it's a good thing because they surprised us by not having anything really that interesting happen. Except for him playing video games with Caroline. That was the best part. Chucky
and Caroline.
And then there was a really good scene. Probably what I would have liked to have seen the whole fucking episode was they had a scene where Chucky was trying to kill Lexi and he was underneath the bed while her and Junior were on there trying to kiss, and he kept on trying to stab her and it did not work out at all, and he just completely failed. And I felt that was my favorite part because that was like it felt like kind of suspenseful a little bit. And if that had been the whole episode of like Chucky really intently, like he's really wanting to kill her and he's trying to do all these things at the party and they just don't work, like that would have been so much more entertaining than, guys, do you know if Jake's gonna come to the party? You'd be really popular now. You get some friends. Hey, mommy, can I have a snack, a popsicle poo, and I'm gonna party later. Are you gonna go trick or treating with your sister because she needs to go trick or treat? Like, I don't care. I give this episode a B. Safi, what do you have to say about Chucky episode 2? Give me something good to eat. How about give me something good to watch?
Okay, well, I just had a few observations and things that I didn't like. All right, well, I also gave it a B, and I'll just tell you why. For one thing, I didn't give it an overwhelming, like an A or something, because I felt all the characters, except for the mean girl, Lexi, her sister Caroline, and Chucky, I felt they were all blah.
Yeah.
And they had no energy. I mean, really, no energy. They were very weak. Like they'd been up all night and ran a marathon or two before they acted and said their lines.
I guess it is. I guess I will say it is kind of accurate because if they had the same schedule that I had, you know, I had to get up at like, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning when it's pitch black out. And when in fact, I would want to work out after school, but I wasn't able to work out because I was just so tired and just so, just worn out from being in this prison all day. And so it is kind of realistic for them to be like that, but the whole episode, no.
Yeah, and that that was one thing I noticed, which is interesting. All the evil characters they have more energy than the good characters, or the characters who are, quote, good. Okay, well, let's see. Another thing, Lexi she's more than a mean girl. She's like evil. And we see why. I'll start with this. We saw her home life, and Caroline is her little sister. Caroline drew this picture of Chucky, and it was really beautiful, very well done. Yeah. And so the parents were there. They were all getting ready for Halloween, going to go out and everything, the parents too. And they said, "Oh, isn't this a beautiful drawing?" And they were going on and on about the little girl. And I think part of the reason why she's such a bully and just so mean and horrible is because her parents treat her like crap and favor her sister over her. That's just what I gathered from what little I saw, because they said one terrible thing to her. They said, "You could never do anything as good as what your little sister just did." And I was like freaking out, like, God, how could you say that to your child?
It felt like another unrealistic line, like with the science teacher.
Yeah, I don't know, though. I've seen a little of that kind of thing myself.
But I can believe
that was weird.
It's more believable than the teacher saying fuck off to a student.
Yeah, that would never, she would have gotten fired somehow. And and then the thing, let's see, a couple of things I didn't agree with, but this is what showed Lexi to be such an evil, not just a mean girl, but an evil person. At the party, she started her costume. She wouldn't tell anybody what it was, and I was really curious. I'm like, because they kind of made a little bit of a deal about it.
She said it was gonna be hot. My costume's gonna be really hot.
She dressed up as Jake's father dying, being electrocuted, and she did the whole scene at the party in front of everybody, and I just couldn't believe it. And I don't think the other people knew what that was about, unless she said something, which never heard that. And then, but of course, Jake knew what it was. Her boyfriend Junior knew what it was. The podcaster guy,
Devin,
that's what I thought his name was. He knew what it was, and it was disgusting. I mean, that was how he died, and she
really
was doing
funny,
that.
Because I knew that I was just watching it like, Safi's not gonna like this.
But that's what it is, a horror show. You have to take into consideration. Another thing I really totally disagree with, but like I said, this is a horror show. What do you do? I think Chucky, he hates Lexi. And like Marco said, and I could make a comment about this, him trying to stab through the underside of the bed. The way they were showing it was funny, but there's no way you could get a knife through there unless it was like an inch-thick mattress. Who sleeps on an inch-thick mattress? Really? You would never be able to sleep. It would be so uncomfortable. And another thing, the knives in the dishwasher, there's about 10 knives. Who cooks with 10 knives in one day's worth of cooking? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 10 knives sticking out in the dishwasher? Really? We have one knife sticking out up in the dish holder, drainer, whatever it's called, and the blade is turned down below. Okay, well, back to Lexi. I disagree with Chucky. I think he's trying to he's developing this plan where he wants Lexi dead, and if he can't do it, he has a two-pronged attack forming, and that is using the little sister, because obviously the little sister and Lexi kind of don't get along, but it's not just a big little sister thing, sibling rivalry. Seems like a lot more. And then of course Jake, he wants Jake to kill her. So either one, and I don't like the fact, because Chucky is really an adult. The spirit in him is an adult, and he is trying to manipulate children into doing his bidding for him, and that is killing.
Well, at least he's not trying to molest them.
Well, the problem will be, with Marco joking around like that, is that they will be the ones who suffer the consequences in every way, because they have no idea, and nobody would believe him, that Chucky is a living, supernatural, weird doll, and that he is a killer, and he is controlling, and he talks, he walks, he sits.
They will believe. Andy will believe, and Andy's going to come into the picture somehow, because they've showed that multiple times in the trailers, him showing up at the door and saying that he's Andy. And I saw, at least in Curse of Chucky, he got the Chucky doll, and then I think he killed it. I can't remember. I only saw Curse of Chucky once, and I still need to see Cult. But I was kind of disappointed a little bit too, because we're still getting kind of the story of Jake turning evil, which is weird because
he's not an evil person. He's a good person.
Yeah, but these people deserve to be killed in violent ways in this horror movie universe, obviously. But we see that Chucky's manipulating him, and I thought it would have been a lot better if we saw it from the perspective that Chucky was genuinely wanting to help him and wanting to be his friend, and then later on we see that he's manipulating him, because that's a story that's been done a lot of the times, where you have a young character and you have an adult character, and they manipulate them the whole movie into doing bad things, and then at the end they get revealed that they're evil. We know, obviously, that Chucky is evil, but it would have been such a better, different perspective to see it from, like, maybe he really is trying to help out this kid, because in the first episode he did a great thing by killing that abusive father. So that was a good thing that he did that. But now it just seems like, we can clearly see that he's manipulating him, and so I think that that's a little bit of a weak point, too.
Yeah, so, and I guess just the reason why I gave it a B too was that I just felt like only those three characters. I mean, I'm talking about everybody, the parents, anybody, the Jake, Junior, Brent, what is his name? The podcaster.
God,
they were
Safi?
all blah. They had no substance whatsoever. They were so weak, and even when they talked, it was like, and that the Lexi and her sister and Chucky had a lot more substance and depth, and that's why and the little girl was cute, and it's like, oh, she loves Chucky, and they're talking, they're playing video games together. She tells her sister she has a new friend, and her sister's like, oh, come on, let's go. Like, not even listening to her. And so, but they have a lot more substance. So I thought, that's like, those are major characters you're talking about, at least Jake and Junior. And they're weaker in substance than the girls and Chucky.
So in the next episode, I really hope that
they change that.
The main characters get more development than the side characters.
Yeah.
Because this honestly feels like the show could have been centered around Lexi and her sister.
That's right. And Chucky working with them.
Yeah.
So, or working against one and working with the other.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting, too, to see if this thing with that Chucky wants, this manipulation where he gets either the little sister or Jake to off Lexi, which I really hope that doesn't happen.
I do.
I think he can take care of it himself.
I can't wait to see Lexi get killed.
No, I don't like that. But it's horror, and that's what you do in horror. Okay? So I don't want anybody having a fit about that. So I gave it a B.
Her character was literally written to die.
Yeah.
So we both give it a B.
Yeah, we both gave it a B.
Which
and
is surprising.
We didn't watch it at the same time.
Well, I'm just surprised because I thought she was going to be a lot more biased, saying that everything's dark and depressing.
No.
Like you never even mentioned how like they had the discussion with about the kids and how the mom was like, I want to get rid of him.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And then the dad was talking about Junior. And then they had Junior wearing his dad's medals to try to impress him, and then he had some stuff with that. Like, I thought Safi was going to be, like, really upset about that, but I guess she's not. So that's how you can tell that this episode is really light, is that Safi isn't complaining about it.
Yeah, well, he's still alone because really the only reason why, I think people who don't usually talk to him at school what happened was Dad, gets killed, and so he took some days off. Then he
A
goes,
week.
okay, yeah, and so he goes back to school, and everybody's saying, really sorry, and I'm like, yeah, right, I don't believe it for 1 minute.
Yeah,
And
they don't really care.
yeah,
at all.
and I think the reason why they were talking to him and paying attention to us because of Chucky, because he did that ventriloquist thing, and they loved that. Everybody loved that, really. The only person who didn't love it was Lexi. Gee, I wonder why.
And that was the highlight scene so far.
And the school
of the show.
administration, of course.
Can we agree that's been the best scene so far out of both these episodes?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, even better than seeing somebody imitating somebody's parents' death
It was pretty funny.
in front of everybody. Like, why? Is that really going to help you? I mean, she had a beard on. She had pasted a beard on her face, and she wore a jumpsuit because he was some kind of mechanic or something, and so that's what they wear. And so she was wearing one too, and like, God. So anyway,
see, and I don't normally condone hitting women, but that would have been a situation where if I had seen her doing that, I would have punched her in the face and knocked her to the ground.
because I mean, she was dancing around.
So,
And there was like, everybody was watching her. It's like she loved having everybody watch her. Because I don't think they knew what
she
it
wants
was.
attention.
Yeah, she sure, well, because she's not getting it from her parents.
She could just get attention from Chucky.
Yeah, she's getting attention from him, all right. Who's going to kill her? Me, you, or you, or
his
you?
entire life's purpose now is just to kill this random mean girl in the middle of the United States. And, like, there's millions of them, so it's like, just, like, that's his whole life's purpose now. It's pretty funny, if you think about it. But
So, okay.
we like it.
Well, I think we're done here.
Yeah.
And,
Like and subscribe.
yeah, hit the like button.
Comment.
And make a comment. What did you think about this episode? Do you agree with me and Marco, really, that there kind of isn't some depth to the episode or to some of the characters, that they're kind of like cardboard cutouts, frankly?
It's not to. We still give it a B. We still like
That's
it.
right. And that's right. So, I mean, it's not a whole bad thing.
Like there's a lot worse stuff out there where characters are even less developed than this. And so we're not saying it's like the worst thing in the world. It's just that there are some flaws that are sticking out, especially in this episode. I think that the first episode was really almost kind of flawless. So
yeah, it was pretty bleak.
yeah.
So, okay.
Goodbye,
bye, everybody.